Jurassic Park fan series by Trogley. Part 1. The T-Rex preys on the weak. Dr. Grant, when will we get to see dinosaurs? Ted would ask, say curiously, hoping Dr. Grant would give him an answer. It was dark outside, and the power seems to have ran out. And they don't seem to have any way to communicate with Dr. Settler, who had stayed behind to treat an ankylosaurus. They told us that without his way, he was meant to this is a dream. Imagine the possibilities. Dr. Grant would cut off Malcolm, not in a way to be an asshole, but to try and learn more. He was fascinated by Malcolm's ideology. He didn't agree with it. To him, dinosaurs had more. ¿Qué? No te peleando. Dr. Grant, he would cut him off, not trying to be an asshole, but try and learn more as he was fascinated by Malcolm's ideology. He didn't agree with it. To him, dinosaurs were animals, not monsters who would take out a car. Dr. Grant, do you know what happens to animals that we don't know? These animals are much stronger than we are, Dr. Grant would hum, trying to not to care about Malcolm's rant. Then he would look up at the other side of the window and saw something, that it was a giant fence, a huge one, just heading there. He's just hanging there. Are those electric? Dr. Grant would think to himself. Would keep staring at the fence till he noticed something in the trees. They seemed to be moving. He couldn't see what it was, but he could notice the small twitches in the trees, leaves moving around and falling. What other dinosaurs did Hammond say they have in here? Dr. Grant would say word in a word tone. He's scared, but doesn't know what. Something in the trees, some of that cage, something big, but what could it be? Dr. Grant hadn't been told about this cage or anything to do with big animals. All he really saw was a Diplodocus and a group of trex and Stegosaurus with some Dryosaurus. But that nothing of this enclosure. They have stopped at, and he had this feeling something is wrong here. There was a strange vibration that would come from the cage. Are those electric? Grant would ask. To Malcolm. Malcolm wouldn't feel it. But when Grant mentioned it, it's like it spread to him, and the water was shaking. Then they would hear a scream. It was Ted and Lim, two young kids in a park full of dinosaurs. Not exactly the best idea. Small children always fall into enclosures in zoos. Ted and Slim were both staring outside the car with a flashlight. Ted screams when he sees the outline of an animal's head. They saw the eyes full orange. Eyes Ted would aim the light at the animal, eyes with hope of scaring it away. Slim started panicking and exited the car, running away, leaving Ted all alone in the car. Ted screamed. He screamed and started crying. She left me alone. She left me alone. Ted would cry in fear. He pointed the flashlight back at the animal before turning it off, but it was too late. The eyes were fixated on him. The animal would put its arms on top of the wires and realized it was off. Ted saw the hands. Since he's a dino nerd, he was able to identify as Rex, a Tyrannosaurus Rex. The Rex would test out the fence, putting its hand on it, figuring out that it's not going to shock it. And once it realizes that's not the case, it breaks down the fence with strong jaws ripping through the metal. The fence clashes with the floor, making an extremely loud sound. Poor Ted, he does not deserve this. Dr. Grant will see what's going on, and he immediately gets to action, looking for around in the car for anything that he could use against the animal, the Rex. He finds a shotgun in flares, grabs both, and that the Rex would grabs both. The Rex would walk up to Ted's car, staring directly at him. His entire After Dr. Grant sees the animal's full size, he freezes, stopping on his entire plan. Make what Malcolm tries to wake him up, but the screams of a young boy in the distance shock him. As the Rex starts turning the car upside down, the Rex would start spinning around the car, looking for some blind spot that is not protected. The Rex stops for a second, as if it was thinking. A loud crack would be heard in the air. Suddenly, the Rex's jaw opens. Oh, hold on. So, a loud crack would be heard in the air. Suddenly, the Rex opens his jaw, but in a way that, to an animal, is impossible. To an impossible length. A length that it would take the Rex to dislocate its entire jaw. Maybe that's what's happening. Grant never really thought about how they made the dinosaurs and what was using their genetic code. This Rex, that's impossible for a Rex to do. Rex, Dr. Grant, was shocked. Malcolm, not as much. As he had said himself, chaos cannot be controlled. Then the car disappears, then slammed into the ground. The Rex had picked up the car and is now slamming it into the ground over and over and over again. The glass on the roof breaks and Dad comes out flying out as the Rex does one final slam, revealing that it's capable of understanding more than what Dr. Wu had told them. Dr. Wu told them that the animals weren't a threat to anyone, but this proved them wrong, and proved Malcolm's point of the chaos cannot be controlled. Malcolm wasn't scared or surprised. He felt like he had just been proven right once again. We need to help him, Grant, Malcolm would say, as Dr. Grant would pull out the shotgun out of the car. He would open the door and aim at the Rex, shooting his first shot. It got to the Rex's attention. The Rex would turn its head to Dr. Grant and stare directly at him, curiously. The Rex had never seen a human so clearly. The Rex would walk up to Grant and stare at him. It was strange. The Rex would smell him. Grant knows that any sudden movements would freak out the animal, so he stays completely still. The Rex would walk in circles around him, staring at him. It was like I had never seen a full human person before, which is strange because Dr. Wu had told us that the animals were raised by them. Was that all a lie? Why would Dr. Wu lie to us about these animals? Why was it never told about us about these having this big dinosaur, and why couldn't I see when it was in the cage? It was like the animal was invisible. Why is this animal acting like this? Why isn't it going for the kill? Why didn't Wu or Hammond mention anything about this? Hey, over here! Hey, over here! Malcolm would yell, holding out a flare. He starts running and the Rex takes his opportunity to chase him. The Rex would speed walk quite quickly, catching up with Malcolm. Dr. Grant takes the time to run to the car to pull Ted out. Dr. Grant would quickly slide into the ground and try to pull Ted out of the car. The struggle would be pull Ted out of the car quickly. The struggle would begin. Ted was stuck in the windows with too small for him to come out of. Dr. Grant didn't know what to do. He was stuck. This was more complicated than he thought. He doesn't have a plan. He wasn't even planning if he survived. He was expecting to die, but God has a messed up sense of humor. Ted would struggle under the car, crying and yelling about his sister leaving him all alone in the car. Dr. Grant would start telling him to shut up before the Rex comes back. Dr. Grant still didn't know what to do. Still shaking from the cold, the rain was so cold. Dr. Grant would try pulling Ted out with a shotgun. Pulling a Ted out with the shotgun. It was an absurd idea, but Dr. Grant had no other idea. Suddenly he feels a presence behind him. Grant turns around and sees the Rex. The animal was staring directly at him right in front of them. The Rex would open its jaw in the same impossible way. Dr. Grant would think fast and shoot the Rex in the side of its mouth with a shotgun, hurting the animal. It would scream in pain and squeal. The Rex would turn around and slam its tail into Dr. Grant and Ted's, sending them both flying into the woods, falling into a tree. They may have survived, but this time the Rex will catch up. But the Rex will catch up. And that is the end of the story. Alright, thank you for watching this. I hope you enjoyed. This is my first long story that I've worked on. Please, if you want to, maybe we can stick around, write some more. Thank you for watching.